Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. So today is a Friday, so we are doing Upadesha Sahasri and Drishti Swarup Paramartha Darshana Prakaranam. Drishti Swarup Paramartha Darshana Prakaranam is, the number of Prakaranam is, it is 10th. And then we are doing the verse number 9th. 9th, we just touched upon the 9th, but today we will see. See, the avidya is in Paramatma. It is about Paramatma, but yet the Paramatma, it doesn't qualify the Paramatma. That is very important. The error doesn't qualify the fact. The error doesn't become an adjective of the fact. Like the snake doesn't become an adjective of the rope. It is about the rope. It is in the rope, and yet it doesn't. It's not outside the rope. You see the rope and then you perceive it. There is no causation between the rope and the snake. There is no causation, cause and effect. The rope doesn't cause the snake. It is a perception. It is not an effect. It is you may call it an effect, but it is a perception. And therefore perception is not outside the rope. Between the perception and the fact, erroneous perception. There is no erroneous thing, please. It may look like a thing, but actually error is erroneous perception, erroneous knowledge. There is only erroneous knowledge. There is no erroneous object. There are no erroneous objects, please. There is only erroneous knowledge about a fact. And therefore here the fact happens to be your existence. And the erroneous knowledge is that you are different from the object. You look upon the object as parallel to you. It is not parallel to you. It is said avyavadahi. It is avyavadahi means Atma is something, it is not qualified by the objects. There is no gap between the object and the subject. The subject is something, it is comprehensive of the object, please. There is no gap between the object and the subject. The object is reducible to the subject. And therefore the subject is free from the subject-object relationship. When the subject is free from the subject-object relationship, it is absolute. When the object is non-separate from the subject, then the subject-object relationship is not there. Then therefore the nature of the subject is, that is the nature. The nature of the subject is, it is absolute. That it is absolute that looks like the subject. And therefore, Atma avyavadihi, sunirmalaha. It is absolutely free from impurity. Impurity is only the error, please. The fact minus error is pure. The ropeness is pure. But if I see it as a snake, then it becomes impure. Otherwise, it is not impure. It is pure. And therefore, here also it is said, sunirmalaha. It is absolutely pure. It is absolute purity. Absolute purity means it is free from the error. This purity is generally understood as is free from impurity. Purity is understood as free from impurity. And people think that it is free from adharma, crimes, etc. But that is not a fact. If it is free from impurity, it means it is free from the error, please. It is unqualified by the error. This you have to be exposed to Vedanta to understand this point. And therefore, sunirmalaha. Nirmalaha means it is pure. It is not something that is free from adharma or crimes or sin, etc. It is free from the error. Sunirmalaha. Drigadi Shakti Prachitoham Advaya. And Atma is considered to be associated with the seeing capacity, etc. The Advaitam is considered to be its nature, which is wrong. Advaitam is its nature. Dvaitam is not its nature. Dvaitam is kalpitam. Why it is kalpitam? It is an error. It is an error. Why it is there? Because I don't discern between the Atma, my existence, and the Deha. And therefore, Sunirmalaha Drigadi Shakti Prachitoham Advayaha. It is the non-dual that is taken to be the Dvaitam. It is associated with the Drigadi capacities means it is the Dvaitam only. I see, I hear, I see the object, and the object I look upon as parallel to me. I hear the sound, and the sound I look upon as something that is parallel to existence. Nothing is parallel to your existence, please. This is what is to be understood. Nothing is parallel to your existence. Everything is within your being. And therefore, Advayaha, Sthita Swarupe. And just as the space is present in itself, we can say space is in the truth, but we can say that the space is just as the space is vast. The truth, it is comprehensive of the four elements, not qualified by any of the four elements. The fire is within the space, but it doesn't really make it hot. The water is within the space, but it doesn't drown it. And the air is within it, it doesn't blow it away. The earth is within it, it doesn't cut it. And therefore, just as the space is not qualified by the four elements, Atma is not qualified by the five elements. The space is also physical, it can be objectified. It can be objectified as free from the form, sound, taste, touch, smell. Swarupe Gaganam Yatha Achalam. It is Achalam. It is immobile. It is just as the space is something from end to end, it is unlimited, and therefore unlimitedness doesn't makes it akriya. It is the unlimitedness. If it is limited, then it becomes mobile. Anything that is limited, that is mobile. The body is mobile because it is limited, and the earth is limited, and therefore it is mobile. The water is mobile because it is limited. The fire is mobile, and therefore it is mobile. It is limited because it is limited. The air is mobile, and therefore it is limited, and because it is limited. The space is unlimited, physically speaking. It is unlimited, and therefore there is no mobility. The space doesn't move. The space only appears and disappears, and therefore Sthitaha Swarupe Gaganam Yatha Achalam. Just as the Gaganam is Achalam, and just as the Gaganam, the space is indeed immobile, in the same manner, physically it is immobile, whereas consciousness is immobile because remaining consciousness, it is immobile. Swarupe Gaganam. Gaganam, the space is considered, is given as a simile to the truth. Because something like the truth, you have to give similes for the Atma, only taking it from Anatma, because another Atma is not available. You can't give Atma as a simile to Atma, because Atma is something to be understood. And therefore, the similes have to be taken from the Anatma only. And therefore, the space is Anatma, and it is physical, it is objectifiable. Anything that is objectifiable is Anatma, and therefore, this Anatma is given as a simile for Atma. Just as the space is, I have to say, as a teacher, just as it is physically unlimited, and in the same manner, consciousness is unlimited as consciousness. The space can become manifest and unmanifest, whereas your existence doesn't become manifest and unmanifest. It is ever present. It is ever present because the waking and the dream and the sleep, they're all the time present. They're non-separate from your being. They are not out. They are not parallel to you. They look like parallel to you. They look as though parallel to you. That is avidya. Is taking anything as parallel to your existence is avidya. Nothing is parallel to you. Aham param brahma vinishchayatmakaha. Atma drik. Drik means the one who sees that, the one who has decided, and the one who sees the fact that the Atma is not confined to the Deha. It is something unlimited. Brahma. Aham Param Brahma Vinishchayatmadrik. The one who understands that Atma is not something that is confined to Atma, Deha, it is free from limitation and therefore it is unlimited. Na jayate bhuyaha. It is not, such a person is not born again. Bhuyaha. Iti shruter vachaha. This is what is said by the Shruti. The Shruti points out the one, unless you understand yourself, you have there is no freedom from punarjanma. Freedom from punarjanma is not possible unless you know yourself. And therefore, aham param brahma vinishchayatma drik. Vinishchayatma dring matlab drik. The one who the conscious being who understands that he is not confined to deha, confined to the wave. The wave is confined to water. The wave can be reduced to water. Water cannot be reduced to wave. This is a very important point. The conscious being cannot be reduced to the anatma. Atma cannot be reduced to anatma. Anatma can be reduced to atma. That is why Bhagavan Swamiji used to say, the body is me, but I am not the body. The body is me, but I am not the body. That is how he used to say. The body is me. That the body is non-separate from me, but you can't reduce atma to anatma. You can reduce anatma to atma. You can't reduce atma to anatma, and therefore jayate, and therefore na jayate bhuyaha. He is not born again. It is the Paramatma that has to take life, second life, the series of life in the state of embodiment, of course. The one who has that identification that I am the Deha, that identification goes with the Deha, that particular Deha. When the Deha becomes dismantled, then the conscious being that is identified with the form also is gone. That identification is gone. That identified being is not gone. That identification is gone. And therefore, here Bhagavan says, Nachaiva bije tvasati prajayate. Why? Because the conscious being, he is not born again. A person who understands the truth, he is not born again. Why? Because when there is no cause, there is no effect. When avidya is there is rebirth. When avidya is not there, there is no rebirth. Therefore, between the rebirth, even though it is said karya, there you can say the karana is not there and therefore the karya is not there. Because avidya is the karana. Karana means it is the reason. There is no causation between, I have already told, between the rope and the snake there is no causation. There is only perception. There is only distortion, not creation. It is a distortion, please. Snake is a distortion, not a creation. Snake is a distortion, not a creation. This you have to understand. Snake is a distortion, and therefore I am the body is a distortion about myself. It's not a creation, and therefore nachaiva bije tosati prajayate phalam na janma phalam, and there is no janma asti tataha amohata, and therefore when a person is free from the janma, he is also free from moha. Moha means avidya. Why is he free from moha? Because he is not born. Then when the effect is not there, the cause also is not there. When avidya is there, when avidya is there, the janma also is there. When the janma is not there, there is no moha also. And therefore, why he doesn't have the moha? Because he has understood the self as finishya atmadrik. He has understood the self as free from being. It is comprehensive of everything. It is not qualified by anything. It is comprehensive of everything, but yet it is not qualified by anything. This is what is the most important point in Vedanta ji. That is, it is comprehensive of everything. The subject is comprehensive of the object. There is no gap between the object and the subject. The object is something that is seen by you. The only proof of the mountain is my knowledge. There is no other proof. My knowledge, and that means it is only a knowledge. It is only mithya jnanam. It is advaitam. If you see it as parallel to you, then it is mithya jnanam. Any parallelness is mithya jnanam. That it is parallel to your existence is mithya, and therefore it is, and the only proof is that your jnanam. Your jnanam is the only proof, and therefore the mountain is something, and there it looks like an object of knowledge. It looks, otherwise it is knowledge only. It looks like an object of knowledge. It is not really an object of knowledge. It seems to be only knowledge, because my knowledge is the only proof. My knowledge of my perception of the mountain is the only proof of its existence, and therefore I consider it as existent as an it. Before I correct the illusion, it looks like an object of knowledge, and therefore nachaiva bijah vasati prajayate phalam na janma asti tataha amohata. And therefore, when a person is not reborn, he has no moha. Here should be taken as ignorance. He is free from moha. When he is free from moha, then there is no shoka also. Mohaka shokaha ekatva anupashataha. A person who sees the oneness, he doesn't have the moha, he doesn't have the shoka, because shoka is born of moha. Shoka is a perception, please. Despite your perception that you are indeed unhappy, you continue by nature, you continue to be free from the unhappiness. And therefore, despite my perception that it is only snake, it continues to be rope. Despite the wave's perception that I am only a wave, it continues to be water. Similarly, man, despite his perception that he may shed tears, he may cry, but by nature, he is free from all that unhappiness. That is his nature. Can the nature be there along with the error? Yes, nature can be there. The rope can be rope can continue to be a rope, even if I see it as a snake. Similarly, even if I see myself as Deha, and even if I suffer, by nature, I can continue to be free from the suffering. I'm free from suffering. And therefore, Mamayadam, and then the next verse says, Mamayadam, what is the illusion? Mamayadam, this is mine. Itham cha tatha, itham cha. I am like this. I am like this. This is mine. I am like this. Itham cha mama, itham cha. Tatha idam idrisham. And similarly, you make a comment that this is only like this. This is not like anything else. तथा तथा इदम ईदृशम तब अहमेवम तथा अहमेवम. Similarly, I am like this. Na paraha, but you are not like me. All these comments are nacha anyatha. It is not anything else. You are not different from. You are different from me. You are different from me. You are not different from being different from me, and therefore you are not like me. I'm great. I'm correct, and you are wrong, and you are not different from being wrong. You are only wrong. I am right. In this, to make comments like this is nothing but vimudata. It is only foolishness. Vimudata means it is nothing but a delusion. It is nothing but ignorance. All these comments about oneself and others is only moha, ignorance. Vimudata evam. Not Janasya kalpana, it is only a kalpana, it is only a perception. It is only a perception that I perceive myself as a good person. I perceive I perceive others as not so good. I perceive my mind as a good mind. I perceive others' mind as not so good. In this manner, I make comments. But all these comments are due to ignorance. And vimudata evam na janasya kalpana, it is only kalpana. Kalpana means it is only a perception. Perception, that is the mithya jnanam. And perception, why is it there? It is there because there is no atma anatma viveka. This is the main thing, Ji. If you discern between your existence and deha, everything becomes clear. Your existence and deha, not your thoughts and deha, please. Thoughts belong to the realm of deha only. It is objectifiable. Deha is objectifiable. Thoughts are objectifiable. Even the wrong knowledge is objectifiable. Avidya is objectifiable. Even vidya is objectifiable. And therefore the truth is not objectifiable. And therefore the objectifiable cannot qualify the unobjectifiable. The objectifiable can be in the realm of the object. The objectifiable can qualify the objectifiable. That is a different matter. At least it is. Even if it doesn't qualify, it is in the same realm as the another objectifiable. Every objectifiable is in the realm of every other objectifiable, but the unobjectifiable is something totally unlike the objectifiable. And therefore, mamedam yattham tatha idam idrisham tatha aham evam na paraha nava anyatha vimudata evam. This is all indeed ignorance. Vimudata evam janasya kalpana. It is only because kalpana, it is a perception. It is only a perception. This is a perception. It is not subjective perception. It is universal perception. Subjective perception is different from universal perception. Every individual thinks that he is right and the other person is wrong. Kalpana means it is Jiva Kalpana. Why does he perceive like that? That is because he is like anybody else. There is no difference between the Ravana and Rama. But yet Rama thinks that he is different. And Ravana may think that I am different and Rama is different. But then really speaking, at the level of existence, both are the same. At the level of existence, please understand, at the level of existence, they are the same. At the level of thinking, they may be different. But then at the level of existence, they are the same. And therefore, sada mama sama same brahmane cha advaye shive na. But this is not there in the Brahma. This kind of thinking is not there in Brahma. And therefore, it is not there in the Brahma. In the unlimited being, it is not qualified by anything. And therefore, everything is in Brahma, and yet it doesn't qualify the Brahma. Everything is not parallel to you. Everything is in you, but you are not qualified by anything. Even though you think that you are the body, it doesn't become an adjective of you. It doesn't become a noun of you. It is an error. That I am Deha is an erroneous perception. It is a perception, please. It's not a causation. It is a perception. I perceive myself as embodied because I don't know that I am not the Deha. And therefore, Kalpana Sada Same Brahmani. And the Brahman is something that is Sada Sama. It is the same in all existence. At the level of existence, it is the same. And in the same Same Brahmani Cha Advaya, it is a non-dual. The Brahman is non-dual and it is the same in all. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane, Gavihastini, Shunichaiva Shopake Cha, Panditaha Samadarshinaha. The Panditas, the wise are always Samadarshinaha. Whether it is a dog or a dog eater, it is the same. At the level of existence, it is the same. They are the same. This verse also we have completed. The verse number 10, 11. 11th also is over. And now we have to see the 12th verse. 12th verse is Yadadvayam Jnanam Ativa Nirmalam. Yadadvayam. The understanding that there is nothing parallel to you is Ativa Nirmalam. It is something, it is correct. Ativa Nirmalam means knowledge cannot be considered as pure knowledge or impure knowledge. It is right knowledge. Ativa Nirmala means it is the right knowledge. As true to the fact is what is called right knowledge. Right knowledge cannot be called the pure knowledge. Mahatmanam, it is the knowledge that is gained by the Mahatmas. Mahatmanam. Tatra na shoka mohata. There is no ignorance and there is no sorrow in them. Tatra, in them, there is no shoka, there is no moha. Tayor abhave, and when there is no shoka and there is no moha, tayor na karme janma, nahi karma. That means if they have no ignorance, if they have no moha, there is no shoka. That means between moha and shoka there can be causation, all right. But when there is no shoka, there is no moha, then there is no causation. I mean, there is no causation, there is no punarjanma also. Nahi karma janma va bhaved. Ayam veda vidam vinishchaya. This is indeed the conclusion of those people, the wise people who know the Brahman, who know the Vedas. Veda vidam vinishchaya. This is the determination. This is the conclusion arrived at by the knowers of Veda. And therefore, Yadadvayam, the non-dual, Jnanam ativa nirmalam. Don't say he has got pure knowledge. He has the right knowledge. The knowledge can be, understanding has to be right understanding. Understanding has to be true to the fact, the right understanding. True to the fact is what is, that is Vastu Tantram. Vastu Tantram means as true to the fact. As is the fact, so is your thought. And that is right knowledge. As is the fact, as it is rope, if I know that it is only rope, then it is right knowledge. If I think something else, then it is called wrong knowledge. There can only be right knowledge and wrong knowledge. Samyak Jnanam and Asamyak Jnanam. Samyak Jnanam and Asamyak Jnanam. There can be right knowledge and wrong knowledge. There cannot be any nirmalam, pure and impure. Purity and impurity can be only, the impurity can be only dharmic and adharmic. If he is a good human being, he is a pure person. A bad human being, and Rama is considered to be a good human being. But a good human being is considered to be avatara. Yes, there is nothing wrong in saying anyone who is really good, who is beautiful, he can be considered as avatara. What is wrong in that? And therefore, tayor abhave, and when there is no the shoka and the moha, in the oneness, in the perception of the oneness of the truth, oneness of your being, there is no shoka and there is no moha. When there is no moha, then there is no causation also. When there is no causation, that means there is no avidya, there is no karma, and there is no karma janmava bhavedayam. Ayam veda vidam vinishchaya. This is indeed the conclusion arrived at by the knowers of Veda, the wise men who are this is the conclusion arrived at by the Veda Vidam Vinishchaya. It is their Vinishchaya. Sushuptavat Jagrati Yona Pashyati. In Sushupti there is no Dvaitam. You don't perceive anything parallel to you in Sushupti. And yet in Sushupti, just as in Sushupti there is no parallel thing, in the Jagrata also there is nothing. There is something, but it is all reducible to your being. And therefore in Jagrata also you see the objects not outside you, they are made of you. They are there because you see them. It is, and therefore the one who, just as the thoughts are entertained by you, thoughts are made of you. And similarly, those which look like objects of existence, they are also made of you. And therefore, Pashyati, Yona Pashyati, in just as in Sushupti you don't see anything parallel to you, in Jagrata also you don't see anything parallel to you. Pashyati Dvayam cha Pashyannapi, even though you see the Prapancha, and yet you don't see the Prapancha. You see the Prapancha, and yet you don't see. Pashyannapi, Pashyannapi cha Advayatvatah. Because non-dual, even though you see the waves, but you know that they are nothing but water. They are not seen as parallel to water. In the same manner, here you see the Jagat, but you don't see it as parallel to you. It is within you. They are made of you. And therefore, and you are not Deha. You are not Deha. Because Deha belongs to the realm of the universe, creation, please, the perception. It is a perception, it is a kalpana. The body is a kalpana. That I am the body is also kalpana. And therefore, and the body doesn't exist minus the idea that I am the body. When you transcend the idea that I am the body also is not perceived. And therefore, just as when you see the rope, you don't see the snake also. When you transcend the snake perception, you transcend the snake, the thing. The snake, the thing is not there. Snake as a thing is not there. Snake is only a perception. In the same manner, embodiment is a perception. You see yourself only as embodiment. Sushuptavat Jagrati Yona Pashyati Dvayam tu Pashyannapi cha Advayatvatah. Because the self is non-dual, you see it and yet you don't see the universe. You see it, but it is not outside you. It is made of your being. And therefore, Tathacha Kurvannapi Nishkriyaschaiva. Even though he is doing, and yet he doesn't do it. He is doing it, he is only not doing it. He is doing and yet not doing it. He does it. In the other's eyes, he is doing. In the other's eyes, he is doing. But even he thinks, he may perceive it his own actions, but he knows, he understands that these actions are not parallel to his being. Kurvannapi nishkriyascha yaha saha atma vinishchayah iti. This is exactly what is called understanding the self. Atma vinishchayah iti nishchayah. Atma vinishchay Atmavit na anya. He only is Atmavit. He is only Atmavit. He is the only one who understands the truth. He sees the Jagat, but he is not outside the self. It is non-separate from the self. Iti iha nishchaya. This is the nishchaya that is arrived at by the Shastra. This is the teaching given by the Shastra. The Jagat is there. You don't say. Kurvannapi na karoti. You perceive the Jagat, but you understand. You perceive the Jagat, but you understand that it is not outside. It's not parallel to you. You perceive the actions of yourself, but you understand that your actions are not parallel to your existence. Like in the dream, you perform the actions. You feel like flying, etc. There is mobility in you, but that mobility is also dreamt. Similarly, here also, mobility in the waking also is dreamt, please. Dream is given as a simile for the waking, because that is also perception, this is also perception. And that perception is not parallel to the Atma. This perception also is not parallel to Atma. This is exactly Nishchayaha. This is what is taught by the Shastra. Shastra doesn't teach anything different from it. Shastra only points out, even Shastra's teaching, the words that it uses, Shabda Rashi, the heap of words that it uses, they don't qualify the truth. But then the words are necessary. That's why it's called Shabda Pramanam. It is the words only point out the truth. They don't qualify the truth. Whereas when you describe the tree, you use the words, they qualify the tree. It is green when you say it qualifies the tree. The meanings of the words qualify the truth, qualify the tree. Whereas the Atma is not qualified by the words. Atma is unlimited, means it is free from limitation. It is free from nedam, neti, 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 naidam, 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 iti. That it is free. It is only corrective knowledge. And therefore, correction is not qualification, please. That it is not snaky is not a qualification. It is a correction. Similarly, here also Atma, when we say Atma is not Deha, it is a correction. Atma is taken to be Deha, and the Shruti comes and says, Atma is not Deha. You are not the Deha. Sadeva Swam idamagrasi ekameva advitiyam tat satyam sa Atma tat swamasi. You are not the Deha. You are indeed the Atma of the Deha. You are indeed the material of the Atma, material of the Deha. This is what is to be understood. See, it is difficult, but then that is there. That is exactly the teaching. The last verse, Ji. Iti idam uktam. In this manner, I have explained Paramartha Darshanam. This I have explained. Paramartha Darshanam means this Paramartha. Paramartha means the absolute self. Darshanam means the seeing, the knowledge of Paramartha I have taught. Paramartha Darshanam Maya. It is taught by me. Paramartha Darshanam Maya is taught by you. In this manner, Maya hi Vedanta Vinishchitam Param. And it is not something that I am teaching from my own mind. This is exactly what is taught by Vedanta. What I have taught is nothing but what the Vedanta teaches. It is the Vedanta that I am teaching. I am not teaching something from my own mind. It is not a subjective science. It is a science about the subject, all right, but it's not subjective. Subjectivity is different from being the subject. It is a shastram about the subject's nature. But subjectivity means that is depending upon your own likes and dislikes. That is, and therefore Vedanta Vinishchitam Param, and it is something that is timeless. Param means it is something that is free from the space and time and form and thought. And therefore, when you transcend one, you transcend the whole thing. Even though concomitant, we say thought and form and space and time, they're all concomitant. But you transcend one, you disprove one, you disprove the whole thing. Like you wake up from one object of the dream, you wake up from the whole dream. It's not piecemeal, please. It's not piecemeal. You don't really wake up from the dream from one object alone. When you wake up from one object, when you wake up from the whole dream. In the same manner here also, when you disprove one of them, time, space, and form and thought, when you transcend thought, or when you transcend time or space or form, when you transcend, when you disprove it, then you, if it is non-separate from the Atma, then everything is non-separate from the Atma. When the Anatma is Atma, then Atma being, even the word Atma doesn't qualify the word Atma, it qualify the fact Atma. The fact is your existence. And therefore, Vedanta Vinishchitam Param. Vimuchyate, and such a person who has been taught by me, he is liberated. Asmin, if this is understood. Yadi Nishchitaha. If this is Vinishchita, he is liberated. Bhavet. Na lipyate. And then he is not tainted by anything. Like what? Vyoma iva iha karma bihi. He is not tainted by anything, even if he performs any action, and yet he is not tainted by the actions. That is why Bhagavan Krishna says, Karmane akarmayah pashyet, akarmani cha karmayah, sabuddhiman manusheshu, sayukta kritsna karmakrit. It's a very beautiful verse, Ji. The one who sees the actionless truth in all the actions. Despite all the actions, you are aware of the actionless truth. And such a person, he is indeed the best human being. Savidwan, he is indeed a wise man. Sabuddhiman manusheshu, among all human beings. Sayuktaha, he is indeed composed. Sayuktaha kritsa karmakrit. And he is the one who has done every deed because he has understood the truth. What is the understanding? Even though you are perceiving the karma and you understand that you are not a karta, you are a karta. Even though you perceive the world, but yet there is no world. Even though you perceive the world, it is not separate from you. And therefore, like if B is A, and therefore if B is A, B is non-separate from A, then there is non-duality, there is Dvaitam is gone. Similarly, in Sushupti, the Anatma is gone, you are there, because Sushupti is your experience, and therefore, as a Jiva, you are not there, but as Atma, you are there. As a non-dual being, you are there, and therefore, you are not tainted by anything, like space is not tainted by any of the four elements. If the space is not tainted by the four elements, the best simile. If the space is not, the physical is not tainted by the physical, what to talk of the non-physical, the unobjectified being tempted, being tainted, not tempted, it is being tainted. What to talk of the Paramatma being tainted? It's not tainted at all. The space is not tainted by the air. The space is not tainted by the fire, water, or the earth. In the same manner, the Atma also is not tainted by anything. Atma is not tainted by the five elements. All the five elements, anything that is physical, it appears and disappears. To whom it appears and disappears, doesn't appear and disappear. To whom it appears and disappears is always there. And that is what you are. And therefore, and the more of it we will see in the next class. And then Ikshutrupa Prakaranam, we have to see. Next Prakaranam is Ikshutrupa Prakaranam, the seer's Prakaranam, the same thing. Ikshutrutvam Swata Siddham. Your seerness is Swata Siddham. This we will see in the next class. It is Swata Siddham. Your existence is Swata Siddham, please. You are not existent through the eyes. The form is seen through the eyes, and therefore it is Pramana Siddham. The sound is heard through the ears, and therefore it is Pramana Siddham. The five objects are seen by through the five senses, and therefore it is Pramana Siddham. Whereas your existence is something that is Swataha Siddham. It is Anubhava Swarupam, and therefore it is Swata Siddham. Your existence is Swata Siddham, and therefore, what is Pramana Siddham is non-separate from Swata Siddham. Pramana Siddham is physical, whereas Swata Siddham is non-physical. Pramana Siddham is physical, whereas Swata Siddham is non-physical. And that non-physical is yourself. And therefore, that non-physical conscious being is yourself. And therefore, the Pramana Siddham is non-separate from Swata Siddham. And that means the Anubhava Vishayam is non-separate from Anubhava Swarupam. You are call yourself as Swata Siddham, Atma as Swata Siddham, or Anubhava Swarupam. It makes no difference. Self-evident or it is in the form of the experience, or you say, it is of the nature of experience. It is of the nature of Anubhava. And the object of experience is not separate from, it is inseparable from the experience or the being. And therefore, that Swata Siddhatvam and Pramana Siddhatvam, the difference has to be seen, please. The Pramana Siddhatvam and the Swata Siddhatvam, the difference has to be seen. And the more of it we will see in the next class. Thank you, Ji. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. And then we'll continue the classes. If the corona is gone, then I'll come back here. We will come back here. We'll inform you. Till then, you can relax. And then, in case there is corona around, then we will have the online classes. You can sit at home and I hear the online classes. And don't give up the Vedanta. If you give up the Vedanta, what is alternative? There is no alternative to yourself, please. Your existence is something that is alternative free. It is choiceless. That is why I said right in the beginning that the knowledge about yourself is choiceless. Therefore, you have to know yourself. Don't give up Vedanta. Either you hear it here or you hear on the online classes. But you have to hear. You have to reflect. You have to continue reflection. And therefore, and that alone will liberate you from the avidya. There is no other thing. And therefore, the whole life you have to spend only for knowing yourself. Connect everything in life to Brahma Vidya, please. Hari Om. Then we'll see you when I come back. Thank you, Ji.